The sun was beating down on the crowded park in downtown Seattle as I pushed the stroller with our twins, Lily and Lila, giggling inside. "Mom! Mom! Look at the ducks!" they shouted in unison, but it wasn't just to me. It was directed at both Lorraine and me as she walked beside me holding their little hands. The stranger, a middle-aged woman with a familiar face from my past, stopped dead in her tracks, her eyes widening in horror. "Lauren? Is that really you? With her? And calling you both Mom?" Her words hit me like a punch to the gut, and in that instant the carefully constructed wall around my heart began to crack, flooding me with memories I had tried so hard to bury. Lorraine squeezed my hand, sensing the shift, but the twins were already running ahead, oblivious. The woman, Mrs. Hargrove, my mother's old church friend, stood there clutching her purse like a shield. "I can't believe it," she muttered loud enough for nearby parents to turn. "After everything your family went through." I forced a smile, the kind I had perfected over years of pretending. "Nice to see you too, Mrs. Hargrove." But inside, 10 years peeled away in a single heartbeat. College campus, the same crisp autumn air. Lorraine's laugh echoing across the quad as she grabbed my arm and said, "Come on, Lauren, live a little." We had been inseparable that first semester. Study partners, late-night coffee runs, stolen glances that meant more than either of us admitted. Until the phone call from my mother changed everything. "Lauren, your father found out about that girl. The church elders are talking. If you don't end this nonsense, we're done supporting you." Her voice had been ice. I was 20, terrified of losing the only family I knew. So I did what I thought I had to. I told Lorraine it was a mistake, that I wasn't like that my future was with a nice Christian boy my parents already approved of. The look on her face that day, the way her eyes went from sparkling to shattered, had haunted every quiet moment since. Back in the park, Lily tugged Lorraine's sleeve. "Mommy L, can we feed them?" Lorraine knelt, her dark curls brushing the grass, and handed the girls breadcrumbs, but her eyes flicked to me worried. Mrs. Hargrove wasn't finished. "Does your mother know you're parading these children around like this? Two mothers? In public?" A few strangers nodded, phones half raised. My stomach twisted. The secret I had buried, the denial that had cost me the only real love I'd ever known, was about to spill into the daylight, and I wasn't sure any of us would survive it. I steered the stroller away, heart hammering, but the damage was already done. That night, after the twins were asleep, Lorraine sat across from me at the kitchen table, the same table where we had celebrated our wedding 3 years ago. "Who was she, Lauren?" Her voice was quiet, but the old hurt flickered behind her eyes. I owed her the truth, the whole truth, even if it tore us apart again. Because the past wasn't staying buried anymore. The next morning my phone buzzed with a message from my sister. "Mrs. Hargrove called Mom. Call me. Now." The chain reaction had started, and I could already feel the ground shifting beneath the life I had fought so hard to build. I stared at the text until the words blurred. Lorraine was in the next room reading to the twins, her voice soft and steady, the same voice that had once whispered, "I love you," in the dark of our dorm room before I destroyed everything. I slipped outside to the backyard, the cool Seattle mist settling on my skin like judgment. 10 years ago I had chosen safety over her. Now safety was crumbling. My sister picked up on the first ring. "Lauren, what the hell?" "Mom's crying. Dad's quoting scripture. Mrs. Hargrove said you were at the park with her and 2 kids calling you both Mom. Is this real?" "It's real," I said, voice cracking. "Lorraine and I are married. The twins are ours, surrogate, legal, everything above board. I'm not hiding anymore." Silence stretched. "Then, you swore to Mom it was a phase. You married Jake for 2 years to prove it. And now you're dragging innocent children into this sin." The old guilt slammed into me. Jake had been kind, but the marriage had been a lie that nearly broke us both. When it ended, I had spent months in therapy before I finally drove to Lorraine's apartment and begged for another chance. She had every right to slam the door. Instead she had opened it, tears in her eyes, and said, "You hurt me, Lauren. But I never stopped loving you." Now that love was being tested again. Lorraine stepped onto the porch, arms crossed. "They want us to come to dinner Sunday. Your parents. Alone." Her tone told me she already knew the answer I wanted to give. I reached for her hand. "We go together. All 4 of us. No more hiding. But even as I said it, fear coiled in my chest. The last time my father had looked at Lorraine, he had called her an abomination. The twins didn't deserve to hear that. Sunday arrived too fast. We pulled up to the familiar suburban house, twins in matching dresses, Lorraine in the simple blue blouse I loved. My mother opened the door, eyes red. "Lauren," she whispered. Then her gaze landed on the girls. Lily waved. "Hi, Grandma." The word hung in the air like a challenge. Inside, the tension was thick enough to choke on. My father sat at the head of the table, Bible open. "We raised you better," he started. "This lifestyle." "It's not a lifestyle," Lorraine cut in, voice steady. "It's our family." The argument exploded. Accusations flew. Selfish, sinful, damaging the children. I sat there, the same 20-year-old coward I had been in college, until Lily climbed into my lap and whispered, "Mom, why is Grandpa mad?" Something inside me snapped. Not fear. Rage. And beneath it, the crushing weight of every lie I had told to protect myself. I stood. "You want the truth? I loved Lorraine then and I love her now. I denied it because I was terrified of losing you. But I lost myself instead. These girls call us both Mom because that's who we are. If you can't accept that, then we're done here." My mother's sob followed us out the door. In the car, Lorraine reached over and laced her fingers through mine. "You finally said it." But her eyes were wet. The victory felt hollow. Because the real battle was just beginning. The video hit social media that night. Someone at the park had recorded Mrs. Hargrove's outburst and our tense exit. "Lesbian moms brainwashing twins," the caption read. By morning it had 10,000 views. Comments poured in, some supportive, most vicious. "Child abuse. Pray for them. The mother should be ashamed." Lorraine scrolled in silence while I made coffee. "We can't shield them forever," she said quietly. Lily and Lila were already asking why their friends at preschool weren't allowed to play anymore. The school principal had left a voicemail requesting a meeting. I felt the old panic rising, the same panic that had made me push Lorraine away a decade earlier. But this time I refused to run. "We fight," I told her. "Together." The principal's office smelled of stale coffee and judgment. Mrs. Ellis folded her hands. "We've had complaints. Parents are concerned about the environment." She wouldn't meet my eyes. Lorraine's jaw tightened. "Our daughters are 5. They're kind, smart, and loved. That's the environment." We left with a warning. Any more incidents and they would review enrollment. Outside, Lorraine leaned against the car, breathing hard. "I can't lose them, Lauren. Not after everything." Her voice cracked, and I heard the echo of the girl I had abandoned. That night I couldn't sleep. I slipped downstairs and opened the old shoebox of letters I had never sent. Pages and pages of apologies I had written in the years we were apart. I was wrong. I was scared. "I still love you." I had mailed none of them. Instead I had married Jake, gone to church every Sunday, smiled through holidays while my heart slowly died. Lorraine found me at 3 a.m., tears on the yellowed paper. She read one silently, then pulled me into her arms. "You don't have to carry this alone anymore." But the weight was crushing. The community wasn't finished. Monday morning my phone rang, my old college roommate, now a local reporter. "Lauren, the video's everywhere. I want your side. The real story." I almost hung up. Then I looked at Lorraine feeding the twins breakfast, both girls laughing with syrup on their chins, and I said yes. The interview aired 2 days later. I sat beside Lorraine, twins on our laps for the family segment. I told everything, the denial, the fake marriage, the guilt that had eaten me alive. "I hurt the person I loved most because I was afraid," I said into the camera. "I won't do it again." The response was immediate. Hate mail doubled. But so did messages from strangers who understood. One woman wrote, "I denied my wife for 20 years. Thank you for showing it's never too late." Yet my parents remained silent. And deep down I knew silence was just another kind of storm gathering. The storm broke on a rainy Wednesday. My father showed up at our door without warning, soaked and shaking. "I need to talk to you." Alone. Lorraine took the twins upstairs without a word. We sat in the living room where we had once hosted Christmas dinners my family refused to attend. He pulled out an old photo, me and Lorraine at graduation, arms around each other, smiling like the future was ours. I kept this, he said. Your mother doesn't know. I told myself it was a phase, that you'd come back to God. His voice broke. But seeing those girls call you both Mom, it forced me to see what I made you do. I waited, heart pounding. I was wrong, Lauren. I was scared too. Scared of what people would say at church, what it meant for our family name. I pushed you to deny who you are. And I see now what it cost you. Tears ran down his weathered face. I'm sorry. I want to know my granddaughters. If you'll let me. The apology I had waited a decade for should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt like another layer of guilt. Because his regret didn't erase mine. I had still chosen fear over love. I had still broken Lorraine's heart. That night I told her everything. She listened, then said softly, "He's trying. But you and I still have work to do." She was right. The confrontation had opened old wounds between us too. We started therapy the next week. Couples counseling with a therapist who specialized in LGBTQ families. Session after session I unpacked the shame I had carried since college. Lorraine spoke of the years she spent believing she wasn't enough. The therapist asked the question that stopped me cold. What would you tell your 20-year-old self? I looked at Lorraine across the room. I'd tell her to choose love. Even when it's terrifying. Because losing you almost killed me. Healing wasn't linear. Some nights we argued about the past. Some nights we held each other and cried. The twins noticed the tension. Lily asked one evening, "Mommy, are you and Mommy L mad at each other like Grandpa was?" The question broke something open. Lorraine knelt in front of them. We love each other very much. Sometimes grown-ups have to fix old mistakes. But we're fixing them together. Outside pressures kept coming. A church group picketed the twins' preschool. Social media comments turned vicious again. But something shifted in me. The woman who had once run was now standing her ground. I started a private blog, anonymous at first, detailing our story. The first post was titled, "I denied my wife because I was afraid." It went viral in the right circles. Lorraine read it that night and smiled for the first time in weeks. "You're finally free," she whispered. But freedom came with a price. The price arrived in the form of a certified letter. My mother was filing for emergency custody of the twins, citing unstable home environment and exposure to immorality. The court date was set for 6 weeks away. I stared at the paper until my hands shook. Lorraine read it over my shoulder and went very still. She wouldn't, she said, but we both knew she would. My mother's faith had always been stronger than her love. We hired the best family lawyer we could afford. Depositions began. My parents' lawyer painted me as unstable, confused, a woman who had abandoned God's plan. They brought out old church records, my brief marriage to Jake, even a blurry photo from college showing Lorraine and me holding hands. Each hearing chipped away at me. At night I lay awake replaying every moment I had chosen silence. The guilt was suffocating. Lorraine found me in the bathroom one night, vomiting from anxiety. She held my hair back and said, "You don't get to carry this alone anymore. We fight for our family." The twins sensed the fear. They started having nightmares. Lila woke screaming, "Don't let them take us." I rocked her until dawn, whispering promises I wasn't sure I could keep. Then came the turning point. During a recess, my mother pulled me aside in the courthouse hallway. "Lauren, stop this. Come home. Leave her. The girls can still have a normal life." I looked at the woman who had raised me, the woman I had spent years trying to please. "Mom, this is my normal life. These girls are happy and loved. If you take them, you'll break them the way you almost broke me." For the first time in decades, she didn't quote scripture. She just looked tired. "I thought I was protecting you." "You were protecting yourself," I said quietly. The judge's ruling came 2 weeks later. Full custody remained with us, but with mandatory family counseling and supervised visits for my parents if they wanted them. My mother cried in the hallway. My father hugged me awkwardly. It wasn't forgiveness yet, but it was a crack in the wall. That night Lorraine and I sat on the porch after the twins were asleep. Fireflies danced in the yard. She took my hand. "You faced them. All of them. For us." "I should have done it years ago," I whispered. "You're doing it now." She leaned in and kissed me softly. The same kiss that had started everything in college and had saved us both in the end. But the story wasn't over. The community still watched. The online hate still trickled in. And deep inside, I still carried the question. Could I ever truly forgive myself? 6 months later, the park looked different in the spring light. Cherry blossoms drifted across the same grass where Mrs. Hargrove had confronted us. The twins ran ahead, now 6 and fearless, chasing bubbles Lorraine blew from a plastic wand. I walked beside her, our fingers laced, no longer afraid of who might see. My parents had started supervised visits. My mother baked cookies with the girls and didn't flinch when they called Lorraine Mommy L. Progress was slow, painful, but real. The blog had grown into a small support group for women who had once denied their truth. I answered every message. Lorraine glanced at me, the sun catching the gold in her eyes. You're smiling. I'm happy, I said, and for the first time the words felt completely true. A stranger approached, an older woman with kind eyes. I saw your story online, she said. Thank you. My daughter is struggling the same way you did. Your courage gave her hope. I swallowed the lump in my throat. Tell her it's never too late. As we watched the twins laugh, I realized the journey hadn't been about winning against the world. It had been about finally choosing myself, and the woman I had almost lost forever. The guilt would always be part of me, but it no longer defined me. Love did. Later that evening, after stories and bedtime kisses, Lorraine and I sat on the couch, the house quiet except for the soft hum of the refrigerator. She rested her head on my shoulder. We made it. We did. But some questions never fully disappear. They linger, waiting for the next person who needs to hear them. True or false? Denying your true love to please your family can ever be completely forgiven by those you hurt?